I've always loved vintage, so I was curious to see why others are so passionate about it. So I visited Gabrielle, who owns Gypsy Honeymoon in the Mission.
So Beatrice, Lalou, and Lette are a threesome of French boudoir dolls, and they, to me, are sort of muses of the store. My parents bought 120 acres and moved up to Humboldt County, and they wanted to have start a commune. So although they didn't start a commune, I did grow up out in the middle of kind of nowhere. And one thing, we didn't have a lot of toys. We had a few, we had really good grandparents, so we did accrue our, some good basics. But, it wasn't like a huge jungle playroom full of plastic toys. One thing that I did have was a huge basket of antique clothing that came down through my mom's side of the family. 20s dresses, lots of vintage hats and frocks and lace. And so one thing I did was, spend a lot of time dressing up and also dressing my friends in outfits.
I was particularly fascinated with the Victorian morning jewelry, like this bracelet.
This is a Victorian bracelet that has been constructed out of hair, human hair. This is they're known as morning jewelry, but it wasn't always made because someone died. It was sometimes made just from a loved one's hair, a sweetheart, or, a sister. I guess I am inspired by the divas sort of that day. But not only the divas, the physicality of them and how, what they represent. They became icons. A lot of them were opera singers. Now we have our Britney Spears and our, Angelina Jolie. Back then, the entertainers that were famous were primarily, I think, opera singers and stage actresses. So yeah, just like anything, it can become addictive. But I don't feel like I'm gonna go down that path. Whether this store goes on for years and years and years, I'll probably always be involved in the trade of beautiful objects and useful objects. So.
I went to Veronica in the Hayes Valley to ask Jessie a few questions.
Okay, so my favorite eras have always been the 70s and like the 30s and 40s, because the 70s sort of repeated the 30s and 40s. I think I always had a nostalgia for clothing, and I loved costumes when I was little, and I had a trunk full of them, and I wanted them to be authentic. I did not want store-bought costumes. I wanted them to be just to feel genuine and to be able to put them on and feel like I was from another time. This is a piano shawl, and it just has the most amazing fringe and such beautiful fabric. So this is one of my favorites for sure. I want to get married in it. And here's some crochet dresses. This one probably is a 70s cream crochet. And then this black crochet dress or knit dress is a 40s piece that is just so beautiful and clingy and really nice weight fabric. I don't know if I'll always be in vintage retail, but I know that I always want to be working with vintage, and I don't know whether I want to do costuming, like wardrobe styling, or personal styling, but no matter what, it uses a lot of vintage, and I'd always want to be surrounded by it and pull from it.
I was inspired and intrigued by these vintage lovers' stories. I loved hearing about each one of them. They were each so unique and different. It made me appreciate my own fondness for vintage.